Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I bankrupt joined once again by Adam, Nick, and Fluff.
How's it going?
I was forced to be here.
I'm here against my will as well.
I don't know what you're talking about, Nick. Today's matchup is me versus Adam. I am bringing back an old fun deck that I've always enjoyed, which is Future Gohan, which is the deck that likes to block. Adam is playing SS4 Vegeta, which is a deck that likes to ramp, but he took a different approach, and you're about to see a matchup when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. We'll see what happens. And I don't know what's going on at the shop. The lighting just kind of changes throughout this video, and it just throws me off. I guess people
Don't
are
lie.
Electric personality.
Tell him it was the rave that we were pretending.
Ah, yes.
It's the Dementors that I had to chase away. Sorry about that.
Fantastic. So, why SS4?
I love the character. All the SS4 characters, I really like them. I like Vegeta a lot. I like the idea of ramping, having lots of energy. But I also didn't like the way that people try to combo out of me being able to ramp. So I wanted to kind of create a tax Vegeta deck, which makes you pay for not letting me ramp. And that is in the way of Janemba.
Yeah. Was not you put that card down, like, because Fluff's played it, Jake's played it, and I've seen Cody's build. Like, I've seen 3 people play it, and they all kind of play it in their decks are different in their own styles, but they're all in a similar path. Point A to point B, and you played this field card, you charged that card, and then played this field card. I'm like, okay, this is like a parallel path I've never seen before, probably.
Yeah, it's luckily I got that altered reality in my opening hand, which gives all of my Janemba cards or my Evil Incarnate cards a barrier, which is really nice. Luckily I don't really need a whole lot of energy to go up this Janemba chain, but I wanted to at least get one ramp so I could be maybe a turn ahead, because a lot of those cards just cost 2 or 3 energy to either evolve or play. And they all have crit, which really ticks people off.
I remember, so I just built this deck before coming to the shop, and that's why I'd be in the video. You saw me kind of doing the pile shuffling, because I was like, oh yeah, these are still in order. I need to actually shuffle this and then shuffle it again and get it ready to go. And I didn't see any of my engine, but conveniently, because you ramped and you were able to do so much in one turn, you had 5 cards tapped, which allowed me to play the super combo so early on, which is something that I wouldn't expect to do. But I was put in a situation where I had to.
God dang.
Well, and this is also kind of this is my turn actually playing this deck. It was all theory for me, but so I think that we were kind of in a similar spot where we were taking some time to read each other's cards or our own cards.
and it adds a secondary level for me where it's an extra draw, which is fantastic. And now I finally got a piece to play, and that's the Gohan, which is using the activate battle. You could play it. It spirit boosts, which is great most times, but you didn't have a card anymore to worry about. And now I can pay 1 more energy, if correct, to play a 3-drop for my deck. And that kind of begins starting the engine of what this deck wants to do.
This is really aggressive for Future Gohan. I mean, sorry about that. Putting the secret rare out so early is really a double-sided bullet, because in a lot of instances, you want to hold that card in your hand until maybe you're pushing for game. But it's just creating another layer of consistency and aggression for you this early in the match.
No, hands down. And like I said, the reason why I did is I felt like I needed more draws, and that gives me an extra draw every turn.
And I don't really run any removal. With most blue removal is tough. So even though I could have maybe had something that could have gotten rid of it, there wasn't really anything on my list to take care of it. So I just had to kind of let it sit there.
So kind of loosely go over this whole archetype, because I haven't really touched base with it since probably when it came down. Set 14, I think it was. The idea is that there are 2 different Trunkses you can play with this deck. One has Deflect, one has Barrier, which is fantastic. So when you're going to play one of them, you kind of like open up both the windows because typically it's being played by a skill. So your opponent needs to respond before the card comes out. And if they like, okay, cool, I'm going to counterplay it. Depending on the counterplay, okay, cool, deflect. Or if it's like against green, they try Charismatic Villain. I'm like, barrier, which is fantastic. And this particular unison, maybe there's better unisons out there that gives better like overall like draws and whatnot you could work with. But this works so well with the Trunks is because the +1 chooses one of your Trunkses and at the beginning of your opponent's main phase, you get to restand it. And when you activate Blocker, you give it another marker afterwards.
So this, Bancroft, do you want to kind of go over this interaction that we had with this Janemba and
it has
extra card?
It has dual attack, and I got Release from Evil mixed up with Petrification for a brief moment, and I was like, oh, you know what? No, don't worry about it.
Release from Evil would keep it from restanding.
We realized that I think afterwards.
Yeah. So Release from Evil is a super versatile card in that respect.
Or yeah, see there I use it in that instance. I can't remember what it was, or maybe did that Janemba have crit? Is that what it was?
Yeah, all of the Janembas have crit. Yeah,
it didn't stop the attack. I don't remember what happened there. There was something there, and I'm like, oh, okay, hang on, I'll hold off then. And I misread, and then I looked at it again. I'm like, wait, no, this will work. I don't remember exactly what happened there. I tried to use it. I said, wait, hang on, I don't want to. And then I used it again afterwards.
Which let me stand my leader again.
Yeah.
Go for another swing.
And here you let me, I was like, oh, I missed a permanent. And you're like, nah, go ahead, do it. You're fine. I'm like, okay, cool. So I put the marker back up and then you tacked the unison. So I just put it back down. This pickle is also 11k unison. So most hacks will remove a marker from it.
I really wish that Bandai would not have banned Bewitching Blow. Or limited Bewitching Blow, because the Janemba chain is such a cool chain that really suffers from having that limited piece. And like when you combo with like combo attack Janemba and you add that in there, Janemba can do some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And talk about this real quick. You decided to spark to actually go to 4 energy, and I remember you picking up that Ready to Rumble. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. And I just pretty much, you still got the negate off, but overall, none of its skills go into effect because it's part of the auto. It doesn't have blocker anymore. So I'm able to just free range attack from here on out. But instead of swinging a card that draws me a card, you just drop Hatch, and now I lose out on my draw.
That's gotta feel good as the yellow player. Getting the blue player to burn a Vegeta Ready to Rumble and hatch in 1 turn is huge.
Yeah. Well, so being familiar with SS4 and the way I've seen people play it, I teched in these Piccolos specifically for the Majin Buu unison. And once I saw what he was playing, I'm like, okay, maybe he's not playing the Majin Buu unison. And I'm like, oh, this is a perfect card to play it on then. I can continue attacking and have to worry about anything.
Yeah, and that was my first time playing Baby Hatchiyak. It's something that I just pulled out of a box, and so I was like, did I play that right? And I understand the hype. It is a very, very, very good card, and it feels good when it hits the board.
Yeah.
I will say, kind of one thing to always keep in mind with Vegeta, you always want to be leading with your leader first.
Yeah.
So your leader swing is always first. So in case they activate a counter, you get the restand out of it.
After the match, because Jake had the bias who was watching us the entire game, he's like, I gotta hold off. And then I was like, okay. And then at the end of the match, he's like, all right, mind if I give you some tips? And he kind of explained that as well. Because like, there was a lot of times you did something else. I'm like, all right, cool. I negate. I'm like, that proc your leader's auto, just let you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, first time playing through the deck is going to have a couple of hiccups, but in this one you had played Robotic Riposte and realized that I could just rest my field to pay for that, so that was nice.
And and you just kept going. I'm like, okay, is he gonna swing again? What's he doing here? And I did just flash a card on camera. I think I missed the timing window. I meant to play Poutine afterwards. But if you attack again, I have it ready to go this time. And there it comes.
Yeah. Poutine is going to be huge in this matchup mostly. So it's really important to go on ahead and get the Poutine established. He's already got a wide field going. So you kind of have to be considering, do you have enough blocks moving forward to kind of deal with this huge pressured field? Or do you need to start dealing with these battle cards moving forward?
And I think for this particular build, I may take out the Zeno super combos and go with the blue Vegeta combos. And I also might change the leader to SS3 just because of the aggressive nature of the Janemba chain.
I would recommend doing a 50-50 on super combos because where you're blindly ramping cards.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. 50-50.
You may end up charging a card. You're like, oh shit! Like I've charged a Hatchiak on something like that before, and that just sucks when it happens.
One of the things that about the SS3 deck that really kind of sucks is you don't draw a lot or at all for like 3 turns. So where Janemba is so combo oriented, you want a leader that's going to cater to that draw engine, and I think SS4 Vegeta is perfect for it.
Well, maybe I'll give it a couple more weeks. So here I'm just desperately trying to get to my next turn.
It's you playing Hatch kind of now gives me the go away of just swing.
Yeah.
And then play my turn out afterwards when I'm done swinging all my swings. Because like I said, also now with the front side of the leader, I explained this earlier. When I attack with the leader, not only my drawing card, I choose one of my future trunks cards, and it gains 6,000 power and crit for the turn. So from that point on, now it makes it even more of a third of a card. And you had 2 cards left here, and I don't know what's going on in my mindset, but you have 4 open energy, you had 2 cards in hand, you're at 1 life, and I have 5 energy. And I'm thinking, oh man, what do I do here? I could probably swing a Poutine and just go all in and maybe fine. But instead I was like, no, I'm gonna play it safe and not worry about anything and just play this Gohan, which will eventually give me another blocker on top of everything else I'm gonna do. And I just passed turn. That Gohan's a 10k. I still have 3 open energy. I could have just swung to Gohan and potentially gone on out if you're only 2 cards in your hand. But in the moment, and me trying to remember everything and figure everything out, and I'm like, oh, he's playing blue. He just has another negate. I'm just going to be wasting more swings. And then I'm like, but that would be the perfect play. Like, get rid of those cards out of your hand now so you wouldn't have anything.
Yeah, I literally had 2 unisons in my hand, so if you would have swung with anything, you would have closed it out.
Yeah, no, I realized that afterward. So now
but you're playing a defensive deck, right?
Yeah.
So your natural tendency on the deck is let me wall up, survive another turn, and then go for the kill the next turn. Yeah. Alternatively, you could have probably played your 8-drop if you had access to it.
I did not see it this game, unfortunately.
Didn't see it.
I also will say I mix up the autos. Sorry. When my leader attacks, it gives a 5k and crit. When my opponent attacks, it has an auto that I choose one of my future trunks and restand it, and it gains 6k. So initially, I can't remember if this was... I cannot remember how this order works, but because the leaders initially attack, that auto goes off immediately, so I need to block with the trunks first thing to be able to restand it right afterwards, if correct. But now you see here, because I was able to also block the Gohan afterwards, I established the 1-drop, Gohan died, and established another 3-drop, and I had a Zarbon in my hand to just restand that card again.
Yeah. Zarbon is huge in this.
Oh, yes. Fantastic.
And we're kind of at the stage of the game where, like, if I don't do some serious damage to you, it's going to be really bad for me. So I just, tried to be as aggressive as possible and really focus on my resource management, on my energy to be able to maximize the number of swings.
Yeah. And that Piccolo is because we missed an auto. And I'm like, it's good. It's gone. Want to go over this real quick? My blocker for this match is obviously my Drip Coup Metal Leader from TCG Metals. Check them out, guys. They're a fantastic group. Get your Metal Leader if you don't got one. I happened to check my mail right before I went to the shop, and there was my leaders were there. So
Very cool.
So I have just finished swinging for the 6th time now. I am still not getting through this wall of yellow blockers.
Yeah, removal in this match is so important.
and what makes it great so far on these ones, they have barrier. Because he had never established a unit early on, I wasn't afraid of getting counterplays. I just played them instead.
Yeah. And blue can really struggle, especially if you don't have access to like the Kale or something like that. That's just going to mass clear out the field. It can be really difficult.
And I wasn't really sure, like, on those last couple of swings, like, if I would have let one gone through, just in case for some reason you decide to run a Champa, I didn't want to risk that coming down on me either. So, here I just finally go for the swing, and I think that's game. Because I don't think you negate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I swung 8 times the turn before, and just couldn't close it out.
Yep. That'll do it.
No, it was fun going back to this deck. I really did enjoy playing it again. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below and on the screen. Waffle does the outro.
Really cool take on SS4 Vegeta. I can't wait to see what you do with it in the future. Kind of refine it, hone your skills with the deck, and continue playing it. Bancroft, always good to see you playing future Gohan. As always, read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.